How'd you get the WWF extra work? Just a aside there, because now I'm very curious. Like, how do you get that? Who calls you? What do they say? Is it through Larry?
For well, in the beginning it was through Larry. At that time it was through Candido.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was kind of doing both. He was in ECW. He was up there, and they needed some extras, and he called me.
Yeah, it's so funny. I do a show with Dr. Tom. I talk to him all the time, and he was saying that Candido, like when he was in WWF, so young, but he was saying like they put him in charge of extras. Did this. They were almost going to make him the trainer of like like The Rock and Kurt and all those guys instead of Dr. Tom. Even though Dr. Tom was older and had more experience, like wow, it's like he's so mature for his age. But you think of Candido, he's so young. He obviously died so young, but you don't think of like him being in charge of like all this stuff. But he was like very responsible guy and even
Yeah,
thought of well in WWF.
yeah, he was amazing in the ring. I look back at some of those videos today. They'll pop up on YouTube, and I have to watch them. He was amazing in there, and had so much knowledge. I mean, I knew well, he grew up around it. His grandfather was a wrestler, doing the shows when we were little kids. He had no choice but to be so knowledgeable. And if you watch his matches, unbelievable, unbelievable. He was smooth. He was funny. One of the best as far as I'm concerned.
So when he brings you in, are you actually wrestling? Are you doing like the enhancement matches? What are you doing as far as being an extra?
Well, for him, I was just doing extra work. That was the weekend I was the cop with the Steve Austin thing. So,
Oh, which was it when he gets arrested?
yeah, I was the one that put the handcuffs on him.
Wow, I didn't realize that. Wow, that's awesome. How do they tell you that? Like, by the way, you're the cop. You're going to be putting the handcuffs. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, actually, yeah. So he told me just bring black boots, not wrestling boots. Shave your face clean and shave your. But back then I had like a high and tight at the time. He's like, shave it all one level and shave your face clean. Be at the Garden this time. I'll see you there. So I get to the Garden. And I think the headbangers rid me. That's the first people I see there are the headbangers. And I'm like, hey, I'm supposed to meet Candido. They're like, oh, what are you doing here, Wild Bill? I'm like, oh, Candido called me. He's like, oh, awesome. Yeah, he's in catering. I'm like, okay. And I see, you have to follow the little signs everywhere. Oh, here's catering. I open the door and it's all the top brass. There's McMahon. There's all these people. I took one step in. Everybody kind of looks at me. I'm like, I take a step out. I'm like, oh, you motherfucker, you rid me.
They got you. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't tell me what we were doing. And then, so it was a couple Monster Factory guys. It was me, Danny McDevitt from Maryland Championship Wrestling,
Yep.
Corporal Punishment. A guy from the Monster Factory called Budlicious. He was the short guy with the shaved head and glasses. And one of Candido's friends, who wasn't in the business for some reason, but they pull us aside and then they tell us what we're going to do. And then they pull us into this office and then everyone starts walking in, like Vince and then Owen, all the top brass, Goldust, Marlena. I mean, all the people who were involved in that whole, buildup come walking in, door gets locked, and then they tell everybody what we're going to do. And because at that time, you had the Monday Night Raws. The Monday Night Wars, excuse me. So they didn't want that getting out. So like we were kind of sequestered as extras.
Yep.
And it was kind of crazy. So a lot of people don't know that the build up to that was Owen and oh god. I forget, it was Owen and somebody. It was a Heart Foundation against each other. Marlena was taken away from Goldust, so we go out with Owen to protect him. He had this restraining order against Steve Austin, and then end of the match, Goldust comes down. There's a big to do. Owen's left in the ring. Austin comes over the rail, goes after him. We jump in the ring, and then we do the whole thing. But it was fun. It was, if you look at that video too, it's in the back. They go over. They give me the cuffs. They're like, you're going to put the cuff. I'm like, oh, okay. So there's a real cop back there. The real cop shows me how to put the cuffs on right, do all this stuff. Okay, cool. So Austin's there. So I'm like, okay, I practiced it a couple times. Now he's just standing still. So I'm like, on, off, on, off, on, off. This is easy. We get out there. I'm going to put the cuffs on. I got the one wrist on, and he's moving around. And if you notice, it takes a while for me to get that cuff on because he's moving around. I'm like,
Yeah.
And now I'm shitting my pants. I'm like, I'm going to fuck this up in front of everybody here. And you see me look up real quick and look back down. I said, I fucking dare you to stand still. So he stands still. I put the cuff on, and they walk him away. And then if you see me, I go, oh.
Yeah.
A sigh of relief because I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to fuck this up. Oh, God. But yeah, it was pretty funny.
Did anybody in the back say anything to you? Like, hey, what happened out there? Like, why didn't you get a bump quicker?
They were talking more about Vince's shitty bump.
Oh, God. Oh, that is one of the worst. He takes the worst stunner, even at Mania this year. Oh, so bad.
I just remember coming through the curtain and then, like, hearing people laughing and talking about it. That was the next night. We taped for Raw the next week at the Albany Pepsi Arena in up there, Knickerbocker Arena or whatever it was called at the time. And that was where we come out. And it was kind of stolen from ECW. We had the ride helmets on, protecting Owen. And then we're all looking each other ways. And then, Austin reveals himself to be under the one. And then, so we chase Austin. So we're in the meeting beforehand, Pat Patterson, everybody. So like, okay, you're going to, and he's going to run through the crowd and you're going to chase him. And I raised my hand. I'm like, are you going to have security over there by the railing so we can get over? Like, you're a police. They'll let you over. I'm like, this is the number one babyface ever. The fans aren't going to let us arrest this guy. You should probably have, they're like, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Well, sure enough, do the thing. Boom, boom. He goes over. He runs. And we go after him. You got kids grabbing our legs, biting our legs. Like, they they wouldn't let us over the rail.
Yeah.
And it was funny. By the time we finally got over, they were already in commercial. And we run up, and then, the three of us were just like, we're in the concourse. Nobody's around. We're in police outfits. There's people buying sodas and popcorn looking at us like, what are you doing? And we're like, looking for Austin. Thanks. But yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome to just, if you look back, like be in that spot, because Austin is about to go into the stratosphere. I mean, he was the most popular guy by far. You know what I mean? As far as WWF is concerned, it's like insane. Pretty cool to be around and be a part of that.
Yeah, it's of all the things I've done, that's what people bring up the most. Like, oh, you put the handcuffs on Austin. I'm like, I've done other things.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Follow us on Twitter at the Hannibal TV for instant updates.